Good morning. Welcome to Monday morning meditation. Shortly, we will begin our seated practice. So if you're ready, you can start to make yourself comfortable, find a seat that feels good. Make sure that you feel nice and peaceful. It's a beautiful thing to practice at this time in the morning when it's so quiet. So find a seat that feels good, whether it's your cushion or your chair or anything else. Arrange yourself, get everything that you need. Maybe if you like, you can have a little stretch and take a big breath. And as you exhale, you can find your body sitting on your seat, if it's a cushion or a chair or the floor or whatever you like. And what I quite like to do is find a way of distributing the weight. Use the power of your bones. We let the pelvis plug into the floor. And let the floor hold it. For these next 20 minutes, you don't have to be thinking about arranging your body in a particular way. We're going to trust that the earth can hold you and trust that the bones can hold you. So let's arrange them. Set things up and then let it unfold. So find your pelvis and let the weight descend down through those bones. Perhaps you can stack your two shoulders over the two hip bones and arrange the architecture of your skeleton in such a way that the weight is held on its own. You can let your hands rest, if you like, palms facing up in an energizing way, or if you'd like to be grounded, palms facing down. Now here, take a breath and fill this whole architecture with an inhale. Exhale. And even as the skeleton is held, can you soften around it? Can you soften the palms of your hands? Perhaps you can close down the eyes. Soften your belly. Let the shoulders soften. So that we have this construction of the pelvis rooted in your seat and then the spine rising up out of it, all the way to the crown of the head, which soars into the sky. We aim always to find a balance here of this groundedness, this evenness of our weight, which allows for the openness. Because it's a concrete thing, we begin with the body and awareness of the body, which allows us to cultivate an awareness of the mind too. So notice the surface of the skin, how it meets the air. Notice what it feels like to inhabit this space at this moment. And as your attention comes inwards, your gaze moves inwards. Let your physical awareness come to the base of your belly and notice the sensations that arise there as your breath starts to move. When you start bringing your attention to the breath, at first it'll change. That's inevitable. This is the powerful thing about focus and awareness. Once you bring your awareness, there's very little that has to be done after that. Things start to transform into it. So just notice how the breath moves. The undulations of your torso, the expansion of the ribcage sideways on your inhale, and the softening of your belly, the weight going through your pelvis even more as you exhale. As ever, we try to move away from a conceptual understanding of now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out, and going via the senses to what that really feels like. So rather than an abstract, we go to what's really real. As much as we have the opportunity to work that out, let's use those senses. Feel how the body moves, feel the expansion of the belly, the sense of touch on the inside. Even though your eyelids are closed, your gaze is still directed inwards. And maybe you can see what the breath is like. In this Monday morning, quiet, can you hear the breath? And as you pay attention to it, notice that there's so much to be with. It's so easy to ignore throughout the day. But when you just turn your attention to it, the breath becomes this magical, fascinating thing. So as you watch it, see if you can just pay attention and soften your body more. Soften your arms, soften your shoulders, soften your belly, soften your hips. And see if you can allow the breath to move as it will. It takes quite a refined attention to allow the breath to move, to step out of the way with agency. But notice when you do take your effort out of the way, it happens. So notice how the breath arises. Can you even see and feel and hear the very beginning of the breath? How is the inhale born at the very base of the belly? And as it's born, how does it transform itself? How does it move through the rib cage? How does it ripple through the whole of the body? And as it reaches the top, how does it transform itself before coming back down again to that beginning point, descending again into the base of the exhale? And notice how the breath is always reborn. As you soften the body and let the attention rest on this process of birth, ripening, and transformation. Can you again let the awareness spread over the skin, over the face, and let the mind soften. Let the mind be broad and yielding. In the same way that we relax away from control of the breath, we relax away from thinking. In the same way that we notice how breath arises on its own, notice how thinking arises on its own. So rather than any time a thought pops up getting frustrated, you can be delighted at how life appears. But we don't get caught up in those repetitive thoughts. We can again relax away from them. And can you make your mind like a fertile soil? Out of that, as the body is soft and the breath is soft, in this fertile place, can you ask yourself what is truly needed? In this breathing body, on this morning, in the ripeness of my heart, what do I need now? And listen openly to the answer. Listen openly to the answer and hear it without judgment. Hear it without any sort of regulation. And see if that answer can be planted in your soil. Whatever has arisen for you, whatever was born with the breath, let it be planted so that it can, in the same way as the breath, ripen and unfold. So the same way we soften the body to let the breath grow, we soften ourselves so that what we need, what our intention, can unfold in us. So whatever it is you have decided, or you have heard rather, is what you need on this moment, this Monday, this beginning of the new week. Open your heart and plant that right there. Now, the same way as we plant a seed and we need to cultivate it, but we mustn't fuss over it. So plant the seed and then step back and let the breath fill you and move through you again. This is not a time for grasping, but a time for opening. Same way the earth opens up after the winter. It softens itself again. So we too soften our body and open up. The breath proves to us that things unfold on their own. They keep going. Life will always arise. And all we have to do is keep ourselves focused and harmonious. So as you sit with the breath, as you feel how it moves, you can always inquire, am I standing in the way? Am I hindering the growth of my seed? Or am I going to be open? Am I going to allow the intelligence of the body and the spirit to do its work on germinating this seed? Just like we find a balance between the grounding of the body, grounding of the bones, and the softening. Similarly, we seek a balance between that planting of the intention, that focusing, that aim to draw ourselves into harmony. But in order for that to unfold, we need to relax a little bit and soften. We can learn from the breath here. Every breath is filled with expansion, but then it transforms itself and it turns into contraction and yielding. That play that moves through us at all times can stay so present to it. When we stay with the unfolding of each breath, we can give our attention, our focus, which is so powerful, to each moment. Can give our attention to ourselves and listen to what we really need. So as this week begins, as this morning unfolds, can you set an intention for this week to be so present, first of all, for yourself, present for what you need, and really listen so you can be true to your intention and do whatever needs to be done to cultivate the growth and ripening of your seed. Can you stay present? And then we can stand back and watch with love and delight, surprise, as it unfolds, all on its own, just as the breath in the base of the belly is born, as it ripens, as it fills us up, and inevitably is transformed into another form, into that descent of the exhale. Keeping the body soft, you can flicker the eyes open, but keep the gaze soft. So we open to how the light has changed, open to the morning, where we find ourselves. Allow the breath to come in again. Let it be with you always, or rather, let you be with it always. Join your palms if you like, maybe give them a rub. And join the thumbs at the sternum. Breathe in again. Exhale to seal the practice. And bow to yourself and seal the practice, seal your intention. May you have an absolutely beautiful day and a beautiful week. Thank you so much for joining me.